Hey, welcome back to the Judgment Seesaw. It's been 2 years since I have done one of these episodes, and a lot has changed over that time, and we'll talk about it one day. But we're here to talk with Hutchinson Brown, and we're going to talk a little about mental health, and mostly less so about specifically mental health and more about the lesson of the Judgment Seesaw. So just to kick this off, like I did every time I did the episode in 2024, if you haven't seen one of these shows before and you're wondering what the Judgment Seesaw is, the Judgment Seesaw is a way that people used to analyze and help determine what like your customer needed, and it's a way to analyze risks and benefits and so on and so forth in economics. But the world of psychology adopted that about a decade ago, and they use it now because they found this paradigm in your brain where you cannot act in judgment and you cannot act in understanding at the same time. It's a fun exercise. If you don't believe me, try it sometime. Go find somebody that you really are annoyed with and try to listen to them and judge them at the same time, and you can't. So they use the Judgment Seesaw as like this mental exercise and this like mental visual you can throw up when you're in the middle of a moment where you're frustrated, you're feeling yourself lash out, maybe you're feeling vulnerable. If anything is awry, you can kind of say, all right, well, hold on. If I really want to understand what's going on and get through this, what side of the Judgment Seesaw am I on right now? Am I being judgmental? Am I being understanding? Is there a person or a thing that's making me feel certain ways? And how can I better understand that? So that is what the Judgment Seesaw is. We did 30 episodes in 30 days during Mental Health Awareness Month in 2024. And then I did not do this show again until now. It was a lot. It actually takes a lot out of me sometimes to do these shows. There's some pretty heavy topics depending on the guest. We'll keep this one a lot lighter as we welcome everyone back. And I'm going to be doing this weekly, starting either in March, maybe in April. We'll see. I'm very busy with my startup, so I got to find time for it. But Hutch, that was a long ramble on my end. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, of course, man. This has been a little bit in the making, but I'm super happy to be here. This should be fun, man. Thank you for having me on. This is my first podcast in a while.
So this is your first podcast of 2026?
Yeah, first podcast of 2026.
So let's go.
Nice to get the mic back up and running, get the camera on. It's good. It feels nice.
Yeah. Well, you look good. You sound good. You're a stud, as always. Hutch and I have been friends for a few years now. I see him and so many of my other friends and so many people in this industry I love every year at the Expo up in Canton.
Yes, sir.
And I think that there is, just to set the stage, things out there right now are pretty tense. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. It doesn't matter what economic status you're in. It doesn't matter where you live. If you're in the United States, at the very minimum, you have to notice that right now a lot of people are really stressed out. Things are tense and life is pretty difficult for a lot of people. And I don't want to get into politics, but there's a lot going on that is affecting people mentally. And on top of that, you take politics out of it, but there's AI, which is its own mental health animal. If you are like somebody that gets affected by it or is worried about it, it's a big thing to process. And then on top of that, just day-to-day life has never been more expensive. And life is hard because of that. And so I thought it's probably a good time to bring the show back. Maybe we can focus the 2026 off season here and there on just learning to be less judgmental and more understanding. So for you, let me go dive into one or two questions real quick, and then let's talk about your story. Sure. Do you notice people bringing this tension that's out there into fantasy sports and into the comments? If you were to compare this year versus 3 years ago or a time in the past where things weren't as sticky?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you look at the fantasy football industry as a whole, I think you do see a lot of tension, and you could blame that on the times right now. Obviously, like you mentioned, the political landscape, the landscape of our country, the landscape of our world outside of that as well. I mean, obviously, it's so hard for us because we live in the United States of America to be so focused on the United States of America. We have to remember there's also the entire world around us too. It's so easy.
Good catch. I didn't even talk about all that. There's so much going on elsewhere too. And it's not all
so much going on. It's so easy for us to get caught up in America because where we live, but there's so much going on in the world as well. It's just all over the place, man, right now. There's so much tension, like you said. But I think it's just social media makes it really easy for people to be jerks. And the reason that is is because when you go in the comment section of someone's post, you don't actually talk to them face to face. I know at least 80% of the hateful, crappy stuff that people are saying to each other in comment sections. If you put them face to face, there's no way they're saying that. I think
Yeah.
it's just really hard when you introduce social media and how normalized it has now become in our society. It's so easy just to be a jerk and bring tension to conversations with one another and say things that you would not say to that person straight up in their face. There's so many people that are hiding behind their favorite movie character or a random egg or a carrot on their, Twitter profile or Instagram profile picture or whatever it is, and they're hiding with a fake name, and it's just like they can do whatever they want. So I
Yeah.
think honestly, definitely the times have brought up a lot of tension in people for sure. But I think the world of social media and being able to comment and talk to one another, not face to face, brings in that opportunity for attention as well, because you're willing to say so much more.
Yeah. Hutch, I think you're absolutely right. We talked about this a lot in a handful of the episodes that we did in 2024. It stinks that it's the same problem still out there, but there were a
Yeah.
lot of great lessons from people like Nick Whalen and Bob Harris and Kelly Singh and Casey Kasem about like what do you do when you run into that toxicity on social media? Do you engage and waste time on it? Do you process it? Do you get mad at those people? Do you blow up as well? Do you find
Yeah.
ignorance in it? Do you try to engage positively? It's funnily enough, it's a mixed bag. Everyone kind of has their own approach, but it all mostly boils down to in the end, I have a set time limit for that. For some people, it's 0. For most people,
Yeah.
honestly, it's 0. For some people, it is maybe I'll like do an interaction or two to see if they're awful, and then if they really
Yeah.
are, I'm just gonna block them and get out of this convo. And that
Yeah.
was the lesson from the show back in 2024. How do you approach that? Like, if you have serious toxicity, let's be more specific. Not toxicity that's general, but like at you
Yeah.
specifically towards you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, look, the thing is, I'm not a perfect person, right? I am not a perfect person. Generally, how I want to approach things, right? I like to come from it from a non-emotional perspective. Even if someone's coming after me, when you come from an emotional perspective and you let your emotions run you, that's where you run into problems. That's where you get to a very up and down, high low lifestyle. And that's where in conversations and fights, things can go really poorly. If you lead with emotions, that's where things can happen. I'm not saying emotions aren't important, they're absolutely very important. But if you lead with them, that's where things can go wrong. So I try to come with a perspective of this person's probably feeling a lot behind this Twitter emoji or behind this Twitter message that I'm not seeing. There's probably a lot here that I don't see. I'm going to come at them with respect and understanding and try to have a reasonable conversation. I'm going to give them at least 1 to 2 chances. I mean, because I've genuinely
Yeah.
had people in my comment section come after me and be like, say something really just so hateful and not even related to the post that I made. Like, it just comes out of nowhere, a punch in the face. I'm like, okay. Like, someone came to me like curse words, like some serious slander, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I was just posting about Jamar Chase, but that's okay. Like, you can come at me
Yeah.
back. And I come back at them. I'm like, hey, I don't understand this post, what you're saying here, but to disagree with what you said here and here, whatever it is, right? And a lot of times I've seen in Twitter comment sections, when you come with that kind of understanding and respect, they'll change their mind. They'll come back and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I just got emotional for a second. I would love to talk to you
Mhm.
more and like debate this. Other times they're just trolls and they'll just comment the same thing again. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, that's just how it is. And when I realize, okay, this is just a troll that's trying to get a rise out of me, I'm just done. But I will always give a person a second chance to see if a real conversation can be had, because those real conversations really do matter. And especially when it comes from a place of understanding each other and trying to show empathy, that's when it matters. And again, I'm going to say this again. I'm not a perfect person. I've had times where I've reacted emotionally on social media and in person to other people, and it leads me in a wrong place. So I really try to focus that and just lay those down and say, you know what? I need to have more understanding right now.
Yeah, I love that. It's interesting too because you get like you can not to be too on the nose, but what you just described is almost the exercise of getting somebody else to go through the judgment seesaw. Like you're like, hey,
Yeah.
talk for a second. What's going on here? And then they like step back and they get out of that place of anger and judgment, and they get it's self-understanding. It doesn't always have to be outward. The understanding
Yeah.
can be internal. Like, okay, I'm being a jerk. I'm out of line. Sorry, my bad. And what's funny too is I don't know that it's as sticky with social media interactions, but we're both boys. I don't know if this is true for girls. I imagine it might. It probably has to still be. I think it's a human thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, But a lot of times with guys, like if you get in a really serious argument and you make up afterwards, you're like closer friends. Like
Oh yeah,
you're like way
100%.
stickier. And
Yeah.
I have experienced that here and there with social media. I don't want to go any more details than this, but there was a serious mental health incident with our industry last year. And it was really poorly managed. And people prodded and poked it and brought forth like even more fire out of it. And the individual had gone off the rails. And nobody was willing to do anything. And the accounts that were affected, which are like the biggest accounts in our industry, one of them reached out to me and said, "Hey, please don't engage with this guy, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I'm going to go talk to him. And I went in and just like was just understanding and honest and just like, hey, just exactly what you should say to people. Like, I understand where you're coming from. This can be annoying. These people have not all treated you with kindness and respect, but it has to start from you. So like, can we work on how you're approaching my industry? Because I love all these people and I love you. And it resonated. And so anyway, sorry to go on a tangent, but just to share from last year, like it works.
You got to come from a place of accountability. You got to come from a place of accountability. When you're able to admit your flaws, admit that you're wrong, and admit that you are not a perfect person, come in with that mindset of accountability. That's where resolutions are found.
Yeah, I think so. So do you think, like kind of in the same vein, do you think like fantasy football and hobbies like fantasy sport help or like make it worse when it comes to the stress and the lashing out and all of that?
Well, it depends on the person, right? With fantasy sports. I mean, I know people in my life, there's this guy I work with, I'm a youth leader at my youth group. There's a guy, he's another youth leader. And we're both Eagles fans. I mean, our families are very close friends. Like I love the guy. His name is Josh. He's awesome. Shout out Josh. I don't think he's listening to this, but shout out. Love him.
You were just there before you came here. Like
I was just there before I came here. I just saw Josh. He's great. He's a big Birds fan with me. He likes football, but he's mostly like Eagles. Like the Super Bowl's coming up, Patriots, Seahawks. He doesn't really care. Like he's gonna watch it, but he doesn't have too much investment in it. He really is an Eagles fan. But I've asked him multiple times, "You want to join our fantasy league? We run a home league," and he's like, "No, I get way too emotional about it," because he gets emotional about the Eagles. And he's like, "I'd get way too emotional about it. It would not work well for me." And it's like there are some people when it comes to fantasy sports or gambling or anything like that, where emotionally they just can't handle it. It just gets to their head. And I definitely feel that to a degree. When you look at fantasy sports, I'm not usually a very emotional person, but there are moments in fantasy ball where I have been, and it's really gotten to me and made me feel really stressed really quickly. Because and it's not usually about my performance in my leagues, it's about the advice that I give. Like if I get a take wrong and I mess somebody's week up, I get pretty frustrated. There are times where I've gotten frustrated by that. But overall, to answer your question, it's not a one shoe fits all. It's a mixed bag kind of thing. There's different hobbies that make people feel different things, and it's about finding what works best for you. And fantasy sports might work with a lot of people. It gets them engaged in football, it gets them engaged in the NFL game, but some people it just makes them freaking stressed out about their fantasy points. So it just depends on who you are.
I think the core of your lesson is something that honestly I think a lot of people in our industry need to hear every once in a while. Like, you're not special. Like, fantasy football isn't special. It is the same problems that everyone deals with everywhere. People have lash outs, there's drama, and especially when you have a big community and they're all online and there's context that's lost with that and the ability to hide behind shame. Like, it's part of the game everywhere you look. And I think what's unique about our industry, and I spoke about this a lot at the expo this year when I did the panel. I spoke about it on the show like every time when I did it 2 years ago. But we still have the people that built the industry intimately involved in it. So we, like, at least for now, and hopefully the people that were later on that are getting older, like, they adopt the same vigor for the community. But we are actually unique in the way that this industry has a vibrant community that is all connected and respective for the most part of each other. And it does not exist like hardly anywhere. I can't think of another industry that really has that. There's niche industries like Warhammer 40K. But
I don't even know what that is.
That's like a community. It's like a board gaming thing. Like, there's it exists out there. Like Dungeons and Dragons has that sort of community still.
Yeah.
But for commercial industries, nah. Like, we're really unique. in that front. So now
Especially
all
when you
that said, though, we're not special. Like we're just like everyone else.
yeah, I mean, especially when you consider like fantasy football and the sports gambling industry, it's becoming like a multi-billion-dollar thing now. Like this is like
Yeah.
it is niche, but it's also like it's a legit money-making industry. When you look at that kind of money being thrown around, most industries with that kind of money being thrown around, you see a lot of attention really fast. And in
Yeah.
like you said, the fantasy football world, it's a really generally positive industry. So I just want to say I completely agree with you.
Um, it's a great industry. It's why I do it. It's why I do this show. It's why I'm doing this show specifically with people from that industry. And just a personal share from my end before we go into personal shares from Hutchinson and who he is. Um, I do this show because I'm a mental health patient. I have been through the absolute ringer, and I've actually spent the majority of my mental and like physical effort over the last 7 years on improving myself and doing therapy and working through some things that genuinely were going to either end my life or prohibit my life from being good. And the fantasy football industry has like rallied around me. I've been open about it, which
Mm-hmm.
is unique. But
Yeah.
for almost a decade now, like people have been like, "Hey, I don't even know about your content, but I'll be your friend." It seems like that's important, and I don't love the only parts of that I don't love is sometimes I feel like an imposter. I feel disingenuous because like people, like I wonder sometimes if I am creating these like false relationships where people feel indebted to be nice to me because they know I have that background, and so try to show myself grace and not let myself go down that rabbit hole and not worry about it. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, let's go on you. So I had you on. I wanted to have you on when we did this in 2024. Then the show filled out, but you are younger than any guest I had last time, and really, like, the reason I learned about you years ago was because you're the kid. Like the fantasy
Yeah.
industry had like a baby that was growing up in
Yeah.
it, and it was Hutchinson Brown.
Yeah.
And now, like the next phase of that is Ian Fish, like Scott's kid, or sorry, not Ian. I said it wrong. But is it Ian? Am I saying it wrong? I always get confused with that.
I think you're
I
correct,
think
but I'm
it is
not
Ian,
sure.
but he has the double I, so sometimes I read
Yeah.
it and I read it as lion or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, Scott. Um, Ian is probably going to be that next kid, and
Mhm.
so you could look at this in one way is like one day I'll probably bring this up to Scott and share it with him, maybe at the FSJ in a couple weeks. But I think there is going to be moments, and he's already doing this with Ian, where he's like sharing the feedback from other people and teaching the lessons of the industry and like doing a lot of what Howard Bender and your dad and so many other people did with you. And that's what I was talking about. Like that is so unique that we have that in our industry. So for you, give us a quick rundown on you, your background, kind of what you do in the industry. And then I want to talk about like as a youngster, you're not a kid anymore, you're an adult, but like as a youngster compared to most of the fantasy
Yeah.
industry that grew up in it, let's
Mhm.
talk a little bit about all of this whole topic with that perspective.
Mhm.
But tell me about you. Let's make sure the listeners know who you are and all of that.
Yeah, I'm Hutchinson Brown. I'm a content creator in the fantasy football industry. Been here for about like 5 to 6 years now. I started when I was about 14 years old, nearing 15 years, and now I'm almost 20, still in the fantasy football industry. And I've done a lot of things over the last handful of years. I mean, it's all around content creation generally. I'm mostly podcast, YouTube videos, article writing, article editing, and I recently, I mean, not recently, sorry, like right at the beginning, honestly, of my journey, I picked up a job with Football Guys. I've been working with them over
Mm-hmm.
the last 3 to 4 years, and they've been incredible. I mean, Joe Bryant, the CEO, and all those guys kind of took me under their wing and really developed me into someone who's just doing articles every once in a while for them, for someone who's literally in a lot of aspects of the Football Guys company. Like I'm doing things a little bit behind the scenes. I'm always in the base camp checking things out. I'm doing content for social media, doing content in the article game, doing content on podcasts every once in a while. Like I'm all over Football Guys. So I'm really, really excited to just really excited, man. Football Guys is just incredible, and I'm so excited to keep working with them. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. I see my girlfriend in the comments section.
Kate,
That's Kate. Kate
what
right
up,
there.
Kate?
She said hi, and I got it in my mind for a second. Hi, Kate. Lovely to see you here.
Kate,
What up,
all
girl?
Hutch. ever does. I've had some pretty deep conversations with Hutch over
Yeah.
the years, and he loves you so much. And
Oh,
like, thanks for showing up. I am jealous of the two of you for like what you guys have going on. So what's up, Kate? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ronnie.
she
Nice to meet
she
you.
either loves this or hates this, and I don't know yet. I'm gonna find out later.
Listen,
Uh,
this is the Judgment Seesaw. Like, we get all touchy
yeah.
feely on this show. So that's
What up,
awesome.
Kate?
So now that we got context on you, what you do in the
Yeah.
industry and all of that, let's talk a little bit like the Gen Z movement with mental health, the perspective on life, the difference in between your generation and like my generation as a millennial, let alone Gen X and then boomers. Um, First thing, younger generations, like, you guys grew up with social media. So for me, when I run into interactions that are negative on social media, part of the internal ammo I have is that I think it's all stupid anyway. I'm like, I grew up without this. I've always thought social media at the core of it is kind of annoying. So
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. You don't have that. Like, you grew up around it.
Yeah.
And what what do you think, like, Gen Z does to approach like mental health and understanding, like the competition within our industry, stress? Like, how are you guys doing this and be arrogant about it, like in a better way than these older generations?
And you're saying just mental health in general, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like,
like mental health. You can take the mental health label out of it and more focus on, like, you guys are way more understanding, you're way more empathetic, and you tend to have a better approach online
mhm.
than like angry old people.
Yeah,
And
social
so,
media. Okay, you're talking strictly like social media approach, basically.
yeah, like, you guys approach stress differently and competition in the
Yeah.
industry even differently. Like, your vibe is different. So it's an
Yeah.
open-ended question. Take it wherever you want to.
Got you. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Gen Z, and also to your comment about me like growing up with social media, it's actually interesting. Like the first time I ever had social media was when I started posting about fantasy football when I was 14.
Interesting. So you were
I
I got it.
was I was anti social media. Did not have it. Did not care about it. Did not grow up with it. Like I did not care. Like everybody in my middle school was like Snapchatting each other or doing all these things, Instagram DMs, and I was like, I don't care. Like I just didn't work with me at all. And like I'm still like I mean I post like I do like fantasy football on Twitter and I actually have an Instagram. It's my personal Instagram. I keep track of like high school people and just people at my church stuff. I post like some Bible content on there too. I do a lot of stuff there. But otherwise like I don't really do like I don't hang out on social media a ton. Like I don't make relationships on social media a ton besides with the fantasy football industry. But anyways, looking at Gen Z the way they approach social media, I mean, we're just more comfortable with it. I mean, we grew up with it, like you kind of said. There's a comfort level and understanding of what social media is supposed to be and what it is. Now, and obviously, I mean, it's hard. I honestly think Gen Z really got. I think the COVID impact is really, really detrimental. Like
Oh, dude.
we were talking,
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about tension, and I almost brought up COVID because I think something COVID really did is it limited our human interaction with one another, forced us to be on social media, which caused that ability to be tension on social media, like angry on social media a lot, but it also really limited our ability to interact with one another and be normal in our interactions with one another. And I think what happened is since we forgot kind of how to interact with one another, we became very emotional and very instinctive with our reactions to one another. And as a result, that's why you see so many
Interesting.
people fighting so quickly. I think that you see tensions rise in arguments so quickly, especially like political landscape or controversial topics. Tensions rise so fast, and because we forgot how to interact with each other a little bit, and you see so much
Mm.
emotional, instinctive actions, and I think that's why you see so much fighting and so much like violence in our world today, like so many shootings and so many different things going on right now, hate wise and violence wise. But I think those are two, and especially for Gen Z, because obviously, I mean, when COVID hit me, I was halfway through eighth grade. Like
Yeah.
that's such a developmental time, like anywhere between like 6th to 12th grade, and even a little
Yeah.
bit after that in your early 20s. That's such a huge developmental time. Like male frontal lobe isn't even fully developed to like 25, 26. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you're in a huge developmental stage. So anyone in that grade range that got hit by COVID and like was gone for a couple of years, really hard hit. And I feel it in myself sometimes, and I see it in our world a lot with Gen Z, where like COVID did a lot of damage to the young people.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because it's like people don't talk about it enough because it's been hijacked by the typical discourse that happens in America, and
Yep.
like
Yeah.
like regardless of how you feel about COVID, we can all agree something happened and it disrupted our life,
Yeah.
and the like I work in education and it's been a serious topic in schools and
Yeah.
throughout just like millennial society because we're all parents right now. And for me, I'm not, but I work with kids, so I kind of am. Like you're right. There is it's easy to like be judgmental on kids that are like 22 and under right now. But the truth is all of you guys did have your development neutered a little bit. And it was because of that. Like the social aspect of it is so important. And one of the things that the ways that I notice it manifest is a lot of kids that are in high school right now. Like when I go to talk to them, they won't look me in the eye. That was not the case 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And so there's something to it. And it's not you and I just musing on it. I've actually seen studies about it. My dad is he's the principal of a pretty big school down here in Atlanta. He's sent me some articles over the years in our family chat about it. And you're absolutely right. So like just the mental health stuff. Your generation is way more open about it and way more understanding about it than any generation prior. Do you
Hmm.
think that you guys are more open about it because you care, or do you think you're just more exposed and that makes you be more open about it?
That's really difficult. I think a lot of the advancements in medical research and things of that nature have definitely opened up to the idea of mental health because statistics are
Mhm.
showing that people that are in a really bad mental state tend to do have less success in life. I mean, it's just your mental state and your mental health are really important. Where your mind and your heart at really matter. And I think that as we've gotten better scientifically and medically researching on these things, and obviously
Yeah,
it's come with the newer generation, we've been able to understand that and apply it in our life more. So I think that I think that in that way, mental health wise, Gen Z does a really good job of just being aware of it, understanding it, and applying that in life. One thing I will say, I think it's created a really weird mentality though in our world, especially in America, where we have a very individualistic society. And we were just talking about this in youth group actually this tonight. This me first mentality, this put yourself first mentality is really it's a struggle for me because I mean personally I'm a Christian, and when I look at the way Jesus loved other people, it's he talks about love others as yourself. Love others as I have loved
yeah,
you. Jesus laid down his life for people. Like he calls
yeah,
us to be selfless people. And when you look at people that have a selfless love for other people, it just changes the world in a different way. So I'm not saying you have to completely like sacrifice yourself, spread yourself too thin for everybody else around you, be happy and be a people
yeah,
pleaser. That's not what I'm saying. But I think so many people, especially the younger generations and Gen Z, have taken it so far with the me first, got to prioritize yourself thing, where they've put themselves on a pedestal. And when you do that to yourself, you view yourself as an idol. And not only do you kind of isolate yourself from other people, but you kind of try to you start to look at yourself as better and more important
yeah,
than other people around you, and that's where problems start. And when it comes to interpersonal relationships as well as relationship with community, if you're looking at yourself as more important than other people, you're gonna have problems. And you, especially
yeah,
if you're entering a dating relationship or a marriage, you just can't have that. And obviously, I'm like I mean I've dated for Kate for a couple of years now. I'm not married, right? So I can't really give full
yeah,
advice on that. But the things I've seen in people, having a selfless love for people in this world matters, and I feel like that me first mentality with mental health and Gen Z has taken that out, and it's a struggle for me to see.
yeah. I call it. I've noticed it. It's
Mhm.
like I don't mind sharing with people that I do fall more on the progressive side of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints I have about people on that side is there's just like narcissistic altruism. Like there's a lot
Yes. Yeah.
of like my cause is so important that everything you have going on doesn't matter and your
Yeah.
causes don't matter in the face of mine. And I like no. Like everyone's causes matter. We got to work together. We got
Yes.
to figure out the
Exactly.
impasses in our causes and understand each other and like care and like That's my biggest complaint with everything that's happened in America over the last 10 years is that it has been intentional to sow division. Like from an administration down, it is like the purpose is to make us divided, and it's working, and it bums me out.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I'm not immune to it. I'm a sucker to it. I like have
Oh,
cut
yeah.
people out of my life because of political differences and so on and so forth, moral things, so on, and that there's health to that. But yeah, like that selflessness that you just talked about. You're so smart, Hutch. Thank you for coming on. Like that was really, really good, man.
Thank you.
You nailed it.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, it just I think people like move too fast and they like blink too much and they miss like these little moments where they can be impactful for other people and not be impactful only for themselves, if that makes sense.
And something I've noticed in my life, like obviously, look, I'm preaching self. We all have a bit of narcissist in us. Like every single person does.
Of course.
Like you admitted yourself, we all have it, right? We all have moments where we're very selfish. But the moments I've chosen to help somebody out, like I mean, like the smallest things, like I just the other day I was or like maybe a week or two ago, I was at work, and somebody, I was walking by somebody, and they were balancing a couple things. They dropped a couple mugs filled with coffee on the floor in the kitchen, and there's coffee everywhere, glass everywhere. I got a job to do. I'm a banquet server. They were a server. I'm in the kitchen. I'm supposed to be upstairs in like 5 minutes. I got to get up there, do my job. But like, I just grab a broom and start helping them sweep it up. Like, it's just so simple, just helping them. And that moment of showing them, like, I'm not trying to put myself as this, I'm so loving, helpful person, but like
You're fine.
that moment of trying to like actually help instead of just fulfilling myself and what I needed to do, like it genuinely made me feel better doing that than if I would have just walked away. And I just, that selfless kind of love of being there for other people more than just yourself, it really fulfills you in a way that you don't really expect.
Yeah, just a note, not related to our industry, but the other industry that I'm very intimately involved in now, almost equally to fantasy football, is AI. And the AI community, especially the art community, has a lot of people in it that are like addicted to like my opinion is the most important, and these people are being bad, and we're going to tear those people down because they're being bad, and we're going to create vitriol and conflict, and we're going to go fire this up and like ruin these people because we don't agree with the way they do things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the sentiment is valid. It's like there's a lot of really, really shady stuff that happens in the AI industry, and it's a right to call it out. But this like need to go beyond that, and this need to create conflict and create drama, and like I'm so important and I have such an important opinion that I'm going to go broadcast to an entire industry that we all must now partake in this dramatic collaboration to tear down these people. I want to curse. Like, I think it's like bullshit. It is absolute bullshit to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have the same,
man.
Just make your points and be a pleasant person about it.
Yeah. 100%, man. It's we're all people. We all got opinions. We all got things we got to work together. Not put ourselves on a pedestal and make us feel like we're more important than anybody else, because we're not.
I singled out the AI industry there. Not yet happens with every single online community. I want to make clear of that. I know some of my AI friends are watching. Some of the people I'm probably like subtweeting right now in this conversation are watching. Love you guys. We all have our flaws. That's one of the things I don't love about our community. Yeah. So one last thing, just on the Gen Z thing. Have you noticed any different there's a pretty big crop now of younger generation Gen Z in the industry. Do you notice what are the differences you notice in the temperament between them and like the older crew?
Well, I think it's definitely the value in content, like the content differences, right? Because when you look at the old generations, I mean, video podcasting, this wasn't really around as much back then. So it was more article writing, radio when that got around, and things like that. But when you look at the newer generation, you see a lot of short content like TikTok, Instagram videos. You see a lot of short films. You see a lot of podcasts. You see a lot of YouTube channels, and less blogs, less articles, less writing, less radio. It's just you've seen Gen Z bring out all the technology to make newer like features of content. And that's just the main difference, honestly. I honestly, like, in terms of like statistical value, like or like data or anything like that, I honestly don't see a major difference between Gen Z and the other generations. I think the one
Mhm.
main thing is just the bringing of new technology to make new different kinds of content. And Gen Z, you see, they're more focused on that video podcasting side.
Yeah.
But honestly, even the older generations, everyone's picked up on it pretty quickly. Like everyone's picked up on it because all us fantasy ball
Yeah.
people are pretty good with tech. Like we know how to get around it.
Ah,
So
I don't know if I'm gonna go that far.
generally speaking, there are definitely some that still, do it their way. But most people are able to pick up with tech
No,
pretty
you're
well.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
making a joke. I'm a tech degenerate, so like it's the same way you as a fantasy football expert view the 98% of the fantasy football player
Mm-hmm.
community as like, well, they don't put in the work I do. I'm like, same thing. What up, Craig? Thanks for hopping
What
in,
up,
man.
Craig?
Mental health matters. Love you. I hope everything else is going well with you. We also had James Co pop in. Love James so much. Every time I see him at the expo, one funny thing about James, he'll be like, James, my man, love you. And then he always makes some comment about like, this guy doesn't actually love me that much. Like, shut up. Yes, I do. You're a fantastic person. Thank you for hopping in.
Oh god.
He is, I'm sure he's popped into some of your shows before. James is one of those
Mm-hmm.
people that we were talking about before the episode started that just seems to have this ability to like support everyone.
Yeah,
And
James
I
is
love
good,
him
man.
for it.
James is good.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to just like fantasy sports as a community that does have aspects of it that do instigate negativity.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to say that without just being on the nose. Let's just be
Yeah.
on the nose. This industry has a lot of drama in it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just talk like less about like that drama stuff, but just like I don't know. I think actually in my notes here I have it written down as like fantasy sports is a pressure zone. I should have just said that. Is
You have it written
perfectly
down right
perfect.
there. I was like, just say it.
I
Just say
know.
it.
Sorry. I don't like
You're
reading from
good.
scripts.
You're all good. Yeah,
Do you
that's
think
fair.
people use fantasy football to feel in control when life feels out of control? Like, how much of an escape is this actually for people?
I mean, it's called fantasy football, right? I mean, people. I mean, look. I mean, I think generally when you look at this world, that there are so many things this world offers you as an escape, as something that's fun, something that's enjoyable, something that's entertainment, something that's this, something that's that. There's always different avenues to escape, and I think that's something this world pushes at you so often. And fantasy football is definitely one of those things. It's something where you can
Mhm.
enjoy football, create like you're in control. Fantasy ball constantly preaches at you. You build your team. You're in control. You set your lineup. You do this. Like you're in control of your destiny in this game. That's the whole message of fantasy football. You are controlling your destiny in this game. You get to choose. You get to strategize. You get to do all the things, and that makes people feel pretty good in a world, obviously, where we don't have much control. I mean, just look at our country right now, especially in the political landscape. It feels like so many politicians over the last 10 years do whatever they want and no one cares and no one can do anything about it. There's so much of that in our world today with the most powerful people doing so much that we just can't control. And there's so much in our world and our in day-to-day lives that we can't control. And that makes people so worried. So when you have something in your life, like a little hobby, a little something you can do that you can escape and you have control, makes people feel a lot better about where they're at in their life. And fantasy football is definitely one of those things.
I agree. I agree with that. You put that really well. There is. I had a thought, but it's not important. All right.
Share it.
Just because you called me out on having a show sheet, I'm just gonna read off questions and we're gonna be boring for 5 minutes. Have you seen fantasy bring out frustration, anger, or unhealthy attachment in people?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. I'll share personally for me. I mean, I think I briefly mentioned earlier a couple things for me. Number one, when I look at, like, obviously I care about my fantasy teams. I care about my advice to other people so much more. Like when I give out advice on a start this week or a player draft or a player trade for, and it doesn't work out, it sucks. Like I'm a very,
Mhm.
like sometimes I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. I can be my own worst judge sometimes. And when it comes to performance, I value how I perform. Like I really care a lot. So when I look at the takes that I got wrong, it frustrates me a lot. Like sometimes I've definitely got frustrated by that. But honestly, since I've tried to be more steadfast in my identity and who I am, and fantasy football is not who I am. I'm not a fantasy football analyst. I am a human being, and
Yeah.
um, and for me, that's come through my walk with God personally. I know I'm not. I know
Mhm.
that everybody believes in God, but that's come through my walk with God personally. I'm a believer. I'm a child of God. Like that's my identity. That is where I am in my life, and everything else is secondary. And when I look at that, then that perspective, and look at it from that perspective, I'm able to not get emotional over things like fantasy football or other things in my life where I don't perform as well. I'm not able to devalue myself as a human being because I told you to start, I don't know, somebody stupid over Jamar Chase and I got it wrong. I don't care, whatever it is, right? Like, it's definitely has caused that for me before. And I think that if you invest too much emotion into fantasy football, even when you get it right, like if you get something right, you invest a lot of emotion, you're super excited. I'd be cautious of doing that because when you get it wrong, it's really gonna hurt. So try not to invest too much emotion in things. That's my general advice. And the other one, honestly, because I've dibble dabbled a little bit in the sports gambling industry, like the sports betting. I've looked into it.
That's its
That
own
one's
mental health
rough.
can of worms.
Yeah, that one's rough, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't bet much at all. I really don't bet that much. I bet a
me
little bit
neither.
here and there,
Yeah.
but I've looked at it and like really gotten into the nitty gritty of how does it work? What are the sports books like? Are there lines that I like this week? Giving advice. I mean, me and Sam Wagman rock the Football Guys betting Discord. During the season on a week to week
Yeah.
basis, we're giving people advice
Shout
in
out to
there.
Sam. Love
What's
him.
that?
Shout out to
Oh,
Sam. Love
no,
him.
Sam's
Good friend.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, yeah. But we're always rocking that every week. The chat in there is pretty awesome. They're a great group chat. Love that group, man. Shout out to the Football Guys Discord, the props chat. But but man, it can suck you in real fast if you're investing real legit money in this and you're really going for it. It can hurt you really quickly. I mean, I was putting in $5, $10 on bets, and I was getting really upset. Like when I lost, I was getting really upset over $5, and it's just like if I dropped $5 down a sewage pipe, like I wouldn't be that mad. If I dropped $5 down a sewage pipe walking down the street, I wouldn't be that mad about it. I'd be like, oh shoot, I lost $5. Move on. But when it comes to the sports betting, it really gets you for whatever reason. So again, I've just gotten to a place where it's like, man, if I notice myself getting emotional about it, I take a step back and I don't do it. Like, you just can't touch it. When you're emotional, you can't touch it because that's where you make bad choices.
There's a great phrase that it's easier to do something or to not do something 100% of the time than it is to do it 99%. Um, it's a phrase that is for addicts. Like you
Yeah.
can't like you're gonna have a beer once every 2 months. It's easier just to not have beers.
Yeah.
And same sort of thing with this, like that. You can take
That's really
lessons from all
good.
these different. Yeah, you can have share that with your parish and all.
Yeah.
It's a really great lesson. I've used it for a long time.
Yeah. I didn't
My dad actually taught me that. It had nothing to do with addiction. It had more to do with like
Yeah.
life habits and what I was trying to
Yeah.
do. But I've stuck with me since high school.
Man, that's really
Um,
good. That's really good.
yeah, it's easier to go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead,
Yeah,
Ronnie.
I'm
Go.
just saying it again. It's easier to do something 100% of the time than it is to do it 99%. And like when it comes to gambling, just like I'm gonna say something that is if everyone at the FSGA and the conference I'm going to in Vegas watches this episode, like half of them are gonna be like, "Well, fuck this guy." But gambling's not good. It's not good for society. None of it's good. It should not be in everyone's pocket, and we should not be giving like people under the age of 21 access to this stuff. Like your brain's not formed yet. That's a lost cause. We're not going to change that. So, one of the things we can do is do exactly what you just did and continue it as an industry to say, hey, like keep gambling. If your business model is to gamble, sure, you got to like encourage people to do it. But you're not going to kill your business by saying, hey, like here is how you manage this so you do not ruin your life. And one of the statistics that people do not like to share in this industry, and I've actually spoken with people that work in Vegas that are podcasters in our industry as well, and they're like so caught up in it that they won't even humor this. Like, it's not actually accurate. I've seen other research, like that sort of thing. The statistics on gambling, and it has been true for decades, and it continues to stick, is that for men, literally 1 in 2 men that start gambling will at some point in their life ruin their financial situation because of
Oh,
it. It is
man,
50%.
that's brutal.
Yeah.
50%.
Yes, you go
Gosh.
Google it. Go look it up. It's in like
I
50
will
different
do that.
studies.
I believe you. I'll
And
check that.
so it's like a
That's
40, technically it's like I think it's like a 49% rate, but either total financial ruin or financial uh discomfort that interrupts your life. Like those two,
wow,
that's half.
dude.
And a lot of people that gamble regularly and don't have that happen can't like understand that because you're not wired that way. And that's why like things like the judgment seesaw are so important. People are wired differently. I don't gamble. I do it like once or twice a year for like my birthday for the Super Bowl. I did that last year. I don't do it because I have an addictive background and I have those genes. And I can't afford to like play around on that slope. Same reason I can't ever afford to do really hard drugs. I can't. And I won't. I will never allow myself to get there. And I have to show myself grace because so many of my friends can. And they can go in and engage with that. And they're healthy and happy. And I think a big part of like mental health and the judgment seesaw lesson is that we all are unique and not in the like annoying 1990s to 2000s you can do anything you want kind of like overtly liberal pies and roses things. We're all unique in like bad ways and good ways. We have problems, we have strengths,
Hmm.
and you have to go on a journey, especially like while you're in your 20s through your 30s. Everyone should be constantly like looking inward and saying, what about myself where I am in life right now is not up to snuff? What could I improve? What can I work on? And in that process, you learn to like not judge yourself as much and to be more forgiving and accept things. And it also helps you not have a midlife crisis, just as a side
Yeah.
note.
Also a good point. Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
love
anyway,
I love your I want to say them real quick. I love your point about like how you said like I don't gamble because I know my background, my history, and what could happen if I do it. Like understanding yourself and your limits is huge. Like
mhm,
knowing yourself is the first step. Because there's obviously like people say gambling bad or doing this is bad, doing that is bad. A lot of the things in if in moderation are not bad. Like
yeah,
drinking alcohol, I mean,
absolutely.
alcohol isn't necessarily alcohol is not a healthy drink, but drinking it in moderation, like at parties and stuff, and one drink a night or something like that, that's not bad. But if you're a person that can get very addicted that very quickly, if you know that about yourself, maybe you just shouldn't drink it at all because you
Hmm.
just don't even want to risk it, right?
Hmm.
Like it's the same thing with a lot of different things in our world. In moderation, they're fine, but if you do it too much, that's where it's a problem. So you gotta know yourself. And I think that was a good point you made of understanding your own self. That's something we all gotta do.
Yes. Well, and that's the bonus, really the biggest gift that I've given myself over 7 years of pretty intensive self-worth is
Hmm.
that now like I don't even know how to be out of that mode. All I ever do now is like think about what I did during the day and did I do anything wrong by people, and it'll bother me and I'll see them the next day and apologize. And often I'll get looks from people like I don't even remember what you're talking about. Like it's okay. I feel better. I feel better after telling you.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and a lot of people like in the AI space, I have had good friends call me out on this publicly and be like, "Oh, this like false positivity thing is so exhausting." It's not false. I don't know. Maybe it is for other people. For me, it's not. I think like whether you want to use the like universal energy and the energy you surround yourself with, or like the electronic frequencies of like the vibes, or religion and the spirit, or like just simply, I don't have patience for it. The truth is, the way you think about yourself and the way you interact with things and the way you understand them and the people that you surround yourself with dictate how your brain works. So
Yeah.
understand yourself and then learn how to like navigate life and prevent the things that'll mess your brain up. It's a really important lesson to learn. You have to spend years on it. People don't get there until their 30s and 40s usually.
Mm.
Some people are uniquely positioned from a good family and a good community and unique opportunity and a good heart to get there quicker. I think you're one of those people, Hutch. But most people don't have that. So, it takes time.
Yeah.
Let's do unless you had anything else to add, let's do two more things We've gone 10 minutes longer than I wanted to anyway, which is fine, but I do actually have a meeting at 11 o'clock tonight because I'm a psychopath and I need to get off soon. So, uh, that meeting is actually about one of my AI projects. So let's talk about AI.
Mm,
That is a mental health like epidemic that is coming
mhm.
on to a society. It hasn't hit yet, but people are going to lose jobs, or at least job paths are going to dry up, and generations that are in college right now are going to have a really hard time in certain verticals. I have said for almost I've said for over 3 years now publicly in this industry to as many people as possible that AI is 80% good. It really is. But that 20% is awful. It is really bad. And we're going to
Yeah.
have to go through it before like AI overall becomes a net positive impact, kind of 100% across the board. And we'll get there. But the transition is tough. The invalidation is tough. I went through it 3 years ago. I have coached multiple, like dozens and dozens of people through it. I've met with hundreds of people, over 100, I think, at this point in the fantasy industry to do consultations. And the thing I see most consistently is that it is such a big thing and it's so overwhelming, and our baseline to understand it comes from sci-fi and media that tells us it's bad. Like everything about who we are as humans and what we have learned about AI and what is happening right now does actually gear us to be like, ah, like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to go on this diatribe about AI, but the reason I'm doing all of this is actually why I run this show on this channel. It's why I launched it on the Good Guy AI YouTube channel 2 years ago. I think that the AI discussion has to be paired with a mental health discussion. And it is. It's actually happening. And I love that I have seen it like from the labs themselves. It's part of it. So I want to ask you some questions just about AI and kind of like how it relates back to this pressure and these everything we've been talking about. Right now, AI is helping people do pretty much everything in the fantasy industry: drafting,
Mhm.
analyzing, researching,
Yeah.
creating content, blah 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 blah. It's great. It's an accelerant. It's an uplifter. It makes you better. Do you think that is reducing stress or adding pressure to people that are currently employed in the fantasy industry and the content creators themselves?
It's a great question because it does a bit of both. Absolutely. Because when you look at AI, you've seen it take people's jobs. I mean, we saw that whole thing with Yahoo, where Andy
Mm-hmm.
Bear's Delta Dawn were taken off, and then there were AI articles or mostly AI written articles being posted. I'm remembering that situation correctly, correct? Ronnie, is that what happened?
I actually met with Dalton about it, and it was
Yeah.
like AI was part of it, but it wasn't actually the reason. The
It wasn't the
narrative
whole
was
reason.
that wasn't the
Yeah.
reason. It was like it was pretty. He described, I think he described it as like maybe like 20% of it. The other
Okay.
80% was had to do with inflation and pulling back and like money and economics and how expensive the talent was and so on and so forth.
Yeah. But even looking outside that situation, we've
But it
seen
was part of
AI
it. Yeah.
replace we've yeah, it was part of it. And we've seen AI replace people in the industry to a degree at some levels, right? We've seen that happening across the industry. So that adds stress because then everyone's looking around like am I safe?
Mhm.
Like am I safe working here? Like is this an industry where I can be? Is AI gonna take me next? Like who's next? You know, that's kind of where
Mhm.
everyone's kind of looking around right now, even not just in fantasy football, in the job industry in general of like who's next? Like what's gonna happen next with AI? What's AI gonna learn how to do next and
Yeah.
take from, you know? And then the other thing though, it really helps us, obviously. It helps us be more efficient in our jobs, our workplaces, our communities. You know, AI can help you in so many different ways. The one thing I will say about AI, it's kind of not part of the question. Sorry, I'm going to go a little on tangent here.
Do your thing.
I was in a psychology class recently, and something that was really interesting to me was the professor was talking, and she was like, AI takes away our humanity. And I was like, that's a really interesting point because when you think about it, right? Because obviously this is a psychology class, and obviously basic psychology is about thinking about how people think. Like that's kind of psychology
Yeah.
a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like looking
I
at the human
studied it.
mind,
I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's great. Um, but the thing is, obviously AI can be an assistant tool, but AI can also be a generating tool. You can generate thoughts with AI. And a lot of times you see, especially in school, students are using AI to completely generate answers, essays, papers, and submit them. Like they're not actually doing their own thinking. They're letting AI
Mhm.
do the thing for them. And it's so interesting because like you're literally taking away what AI has the power to do is take away your ability to think. That's what AI has the power to do if you allow it to do it. Obviously, you have to allow it to happen. You have to let AI think for you,
It's extremely easy to allow it to do that.
but
I
it's
have actually
extremely
absolutely allowed it to do that in certain
it's
aspects
so
of the way I used
easy.
to have to do things. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when you look like 10, 15, 20 years down the line, if people continue to live in this of letting AI think for them, what kind of thinkers are we going to have in 20 years? If
Mm.
AI is continuously thinking for you, what kind of people are we going to have in 20 years? They're going to be so dependent on technology doing everything for them. Like, I think of Wally. Remember Wally, where it's like all like the, like, I mean, like I that's kind of the world I'm starting to see a little bit if AI continues to go on this track. Obviously, that's a very conspiracy theory level thought right there. But
No,
like
it's not. It's really
but
actually
it's
not, Hutch.
but it's like it's totally possible when you look at the way
Mhm.
AI changes how your mind works. Like I've even noticed it myself where like sometimes like complex thoughts become more challenging because it's like I can just look it up on AI and AI can tell me about it. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's it's making thinking like it's taking that human process of thinking away from you, that critical thought process away from you if you allow it to do so. And that's really scary. Because if we're raising up a generation of people
Yeah.
that don't know how to critically think, like we're in big trouble. Like that's
I
just
I
that's
I'm
troubling.
gonna go take up 15 minutes if I give my thoughts on all of that. But maybe we can one day we can do like a I'm actually gonna have a AI focus show just like this, but
Yeah.
on AI as a topic.
Hmm.
Sometime in the next month. I hope March. Have you back on for that because there is the cliff notes for me would be absolutely it is a concern. It could happen. AI is not taking anything away from anyone. It is creating the alternative to the way things used to be. And what it's actually doing for the people that are using it properly, which is the point you were making. And I absolutely agree. Most people aren't going to use it properly. So it's a
Hmm.
problem. I will not dismiss what you said.
Yeah.
But like we're seeing it in our school, we were one of the flagship programs in the entire country to run AI. Thanks to me bitching at people a lot 3 years ago. And the kids are crushing it. It's accelerated everything about their learning process. They're retaining information better. They're pulling in, they're scoring better on their test. They're engaging more in the classroom. But we took the time to build an AI insertion into the classroom that worked with the teachers and the students and did care. We aren't just like, well, here's Chat GPT. Go for it. And I think you're right. And that is like it's the same problem that happened in math. And I think one of the lazy
Yeah.
things that people could do, not to pull into a mode of judgment, but like I used to do this, so to judge myself a little bit, I used to always just pull the calculator up as the example. Like AI is going to be fine. Like the calculator, like we're fine. Everyone thought math, blah blah blah. The truth is, people don't do math anymore.
No,
So
dude, it's insane. Like you can walk up and
yeah,
ask like a grown man, what is 8 times 7, and they don't know.
they got to think about
Like
it for a second.
genuinely,
Yeah,
like they don't
yeah.
know. And it's like when I was in third grade, we would be given these sheets of times tables. You have to memorize your times tables and know them. It's like that doesn't exist anymore. Like that's not a thing. People don't have to know to do
Yeah.
math. I've literally seen people like in their calculator typing like 4 minus 3 or 8 minus 7, and I'm like, guys, come on now. Like we can do this. Like it's mental math is not a thing anymore. Like people genuinely are so dependent on calculators, and it's like it's so no, like it's funny, but it's like it's so real and it's actually so concerning because it's like,
I'm
guys, come on
laughing.
now. Like, come
Yeah,
on now. We
I'm
gotta be able to do
laughing.
our
I'm
addition and
laughing more at like
subtraction.
the absurdity of
Like
all
we
of it.
gotta be able to do our addition and
Yeah.
subtraction. Like, come on. Like, have you like Ronnie? Have you seen the genuine like there's Instagram reels where it's like boyfriend girlfriend stuff? Like, I looked through her phone and I thought I was gonna find something, but I found something so much worse. And they open the calculator app and it says 15 minus 8 or something like a basic math equation on it. Have you seen those reels at all?
No,
Yeah, dude.
I
Oh,
don't
you
spend
haven't?
enough
Okay.
time on that part of social media. No.
Okay. The people those reels get posted all the time, and it's so funny to me because it's genuinely so real. Like that's it's
Well, there.
happening, man.
So, like a good example of like the judgment seesaw process would be like for philosophical discussion or like societal, socioeconomic studies and so on and so forth. you have to do the judgment seesaw because like your
Yeah.
emotions and your instincts are going to cause you to take very surface level takeaways that are almost always incorrect.
Hmm.
And I we don't need to do this right now, but like I wonder if part of the reason that millennials and younger people struggle with on the spot math is less because of the calculator and more because critical thinking has been stripped from schools intentionally over the last 30 years and people don't know how
Dude.
to actually like use their
Yeah.
brain that way.
Yeah.
And that's like a good example of the judgment seesaw is I don't actually know if it's both, if it's one, if it's the other. But
Yeah.
if I just take a second to try to understand the situation and not rush to judgment, like there's more possibilities out there than we ever realize internally. Like our instincts are kind of like just using ChatGPT to do your job, as opposed to we're going to go build out an AI that mirrors with our job, take 3 weeks to train it, put it all together, blah, 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 blah. And then like you thought it through and now it's actually
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, more on AI. What is something that AI cannot replace in fantasy sports?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think honestly, when you look at AI, what it can't replace is that personable connection. Like
Mm-hmm.
people love personalities. Like you gotta. I think in the fantasy ball industry, I mean, something we talk about all the time as football guys is like obviously like we got to work with AI. AI is a tsunami that is coming, and we have to work with it no matter what. We can't just
Mm-hmm.
ignore it. That's not a reality. You can't do that. It's happening. It's coming, and it's continuing to grow, and it already is so massive, more massive than many people could have expected it to be right now. That's just what it
Yeah.
is. But you have to also be able to work above it in some ways because otherwise it's going to completely replace you, right? So you have to be able to work with it and also find where we are different than it. What's the human elements that AI just can't deliver or can't deliver yet, at least? And I think something that's in that, especially in the fantasy ball world, is personality. When you have a personality, when you have someone that's relatable, likable, trustworthy, and someone that can really think through things in the football world that AI just can't do yet, that's what people want. So I think the what are you laughing at?
Nothing. There's
Okay.
always the yet is always a
The
dangerous game
yet.
with
That's
AI.
right. The yet, right? It's the yet. That's the big problem. Because I mean, we like at the Vegas retreat we were talking. It was like we could be having a whole conversation next year about AI. It could be a whole different conversation every year. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
different conversation. So, but I think right now the main thing is personality, like that human, emotional, mental element that humans can offer is just something AI can't do yet. And I think that's what you have to lean into is that personality. But there's other things too, but that's the one that's coming to the top of mind.
Um, I think you nailed it. That was the answer I was hoping for because it's the only answer. The people.
Yeah. The
It's not going to
people.
replace the people. Might
Yeah.
replace like the importance of the person specifically in a role in the organization. Like
Yeah.
we don't need news blurb people for fantasy sports really anymore. And but that like I don't actually have a problem with it. I'm like, well, find something better for them to do anyway. That was an annoying job. it was like the grunt work job where you sit there and you have to type 3 sentences about every single news story that happens. Dave Kluge actually talks about that was his first job in the fantasy industry is how he cut
Yep.
his teeth. And I'm kind of like, well, like I am 100% fine with eliminating jobs like that as long as we reallocate those people to something fruitful.
Mm-hmm.
If the answer
Yeah.
is like, wow, just fire everyone, then well, you're approaching AI the wrong way. And like now you're part of the 20% and you flip the ratio. Now it's 80% bad for everyone in your organization. Don't do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, last things. And then let's close up here. Uh let's do these quick. When you feel overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
what is your like over or your early warning sign? What do you notice first?
Ooh, the like signs that I'm overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. That you know that you need to step back.
Yeah. Man, that's really tough. I think for like honestly, I'm gonna be I don't get overwhelmed very often. Like I like people like especially at work, people like to tell me that like because I'm a banquet captain now. I got promoted to being a banquet captain, and they hired me in that role because it's a very stressful role. It's a role where you have to balance a lot and juggle a lot and be put in a really bad situation sometimes. And I've been put in some really tough spots. And my bosses have just noticed that I stay cool. Like generally, when pressure comes, I tend to stay pretty cool. but I have gotten overwhelmed plenty of times in my life, and usually the times I notice I'm overwhelmed, I get really reactive and pretty emotional very quickly, which is unusual for me. That unusual reactive emotional kind of reactions towards things, and that kind of instinctive action consistently, that's where I notice, like, okay, like something's happening here. I might need to take a step back and just like reset myself and reanalyze what's going on here. But that's really what it is for me.
That makes perfect sense. To answer the question from my end, I notice it because my body clenches up. I have
Mm,
anxiety. I have chronic anxiety issues. Like, the way it manifests is my whole body feels like it's constricting. It's not,
hmm,
but like my nerves are sending the signal that I am like squeezing together.
mm,
And when I feel that,
yeah,
I've gotten in a habit where at this point I just
interesting.
leave.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like I'll be back in 2 minutes. I gotta go outside.
yeah, yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
back.
Take a breath. Yeah.
Um, or like I'm on Twitter, this pissed me off. Oh, I could either do two things right now. I could do this like weird thing that my brain really gets happy about in the moment of it, and I can write this really angry takedown, or I could save myself the backlash from that and not do it, and not do that unhealthy, like almost like drug use style activity, and just take a breather.
Yeah,
Um,
like those kind of like those comments, like when you want to lash out at somebody, when you want like that, those are the moments where I realize, like, okay,
yeah,
I think I'm stressed out about something. I need to take a step back.
you'll you'll see it with me. I This is totally childish, but I as somebody a year-ish ago, I won't say who it was. I was being a goofball, and they told me I was being a little boy, and it made me really mad.
Oh,
I was just like, "Whoa, hold on! That's the best insult I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to use that with internet trolls." And so you'll see
oh
it on my profile. That's
man.
the only thing I do. Like when people show up and be really obnoxious about something, and be like, "Oh, that's a little boy comment," and then they never respond.
Oh my
So
gosh, man. That's
for anyone
brutal.
watching, it's a pretty funny, like if it's it's a dude that's on the other end, you hit that like masculinity,
Oh, so,
it
oh
just like it
man, it just
kills it.
cut straight through. It cut straight through. That's a little boy comment is nasty.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
So you'll if you search it on my profile, I probably use it a dozen times.
I will be doing that and seeing what comments you said that to. Oh man.
The I might have actually I don't even know how many pop up because I usually go back and delete those type of interactions. Um I do, and that's one thing I would share with people. If you're starting up in this industry, and we'll close with a question for you on this topic. My advice for people if they're starting up in the industry is that A, you need to be on other platforms than X. It sucks now. The
Yep.
algorithm doesn't show your stuff to anyone.
Mhm.
So, like, there is no more your X profile is your LinkedIn or your resume. I think people still are thinking that way, but unless the algorithm changes, like it, no. That only matters if somebody is looking to hire you and they go scan your profile. Otherwise, no one's seeing your post.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's it.
It's the
Yeah,
state
no,
of X right now.
just the way it is. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
why it's messed up, but it is.
Funnily enough, though, streaming video on X still like pushes to everyone. So this show is actually doing pretty well right now.
Mhm.
What I was gonna say though is that go through and delete stuff. Like every couple days, go to your profile, look at the last 20 posts, and delete like 5 of them. And just do that. And it does nothing to your algorithm. No one is seeing a post and then going back and being like, "Oh, looks like Hutch deleted it." Like, no, no one knows you're doing it,
No.
and it protects your resume because we are all human beings, and we will have moments where we post stuff that we shouldn't have. There's no one in the entirety of the internet that's immune to that. I genuinely believe that. It might be
Mm.
for rare cases, once every few years, but if you're getting started in this industry, you're going to have to learn how to talk in it. And the industry, like I said earlier, still has people that built it that are involved in the day to day, and they do gatekeep. They watch the industry, and I love it. I support the gatekeeping. They tend to, like, there's not like some shadow society where they're having DMs about what's happening, but they all kind of register who's a shitty person and who isn't, and they tend to just like throw a wall up. So to protect yourself from that, do hygiene every few days. Go through, delete stuff.
Yeah.
I do it because I'm a wild raccoon, and sometimes I like post stuff I shouldn't have, and I have to go delete it.
Yeah.
So,
And you
um,
also, oh, sorry. And
I was
I would
going to say
also,
I was literally about to ask. what would you add to that, and what is your advice for people
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
moving
Yeah,
on?
anything I'd add to that, I mean, like, I try, like, before I post something, like, try to think of somebody in your life, I don't know, like, for me, like, a lot of times it's my parents or, like, your employer or, like, who you work for in the industry. If your boss were to see this post, what would they think? Like, what does this post reflect every time before you post? What does this post reflect about you? What does it say about you? How could this be interpreted in a negative way? Because there's so many times where you're trying to post something positive, where you're trying to be a good person, and you just worded it wrongly. And I've done that way too many times, and I've gotten some flack for it. And there's also been times where I just wasn't thinking, and I posted something, a comment to somebody where I made a joke to somebody, or I laughed at somebody, or I did something stupid, and I got hit back pretty hard. Like I've made some mistakes and has made posted some things I probably shouldn't have because I didn't think through it enough.
I mean, we all
So
have done that.
I think I think the best, like, you're gonna fall short sometimes. It just happens. But the best advice I can give is as many times as you humanly possible, think through every little thing that you post and think through, like, just take a minute, read it a couple times, think through what you're actually saying, and then click post. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of like a measure twice, cut once kind of situation. You just read twice,
I
post once.
I love that, and I think actually what we just gave, that 1-2 punch, is how you have a good profile that gets noticed in the industry, and over time you become part of the community.
Yeah.
You're thinking about what you're posting, which you're not gonna be successful on every time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're following up once or twice a week, looking at your profile, and in that same mindset, saying like, "Oh, if a boss, like somebody I want to work for, looked at this, what do they think?" And I'm not saying you have to. Just to clarify, you don't have to. It's not deleting stuff that was inappropriate. I will go back and delete stuff that didn't get an interaction because I'm like, well, I don't know. I thought that was a good post, but everyone else didn't. So out of here. Just do it. Like, I learned this tactic from Andrew Cooper half a decade ago. Andrew Cooper was the FSWA Writer of the Year. He is a guy who has literally, over the last 5 years, had one of the most meteoric accelerations in the entire of the fantasy industry. And part of the reason he does that is because his online brand is fantastic. But I follow him and I see most of his posts, or at least used to. Andrew is not always perfect online, but he goes back and he deletes that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you should do that too. So anyway, that's parting advice for everyone. Hutch, last question, open-ended. Do you have just any thoughts on 2026, the state and the health of the fantasy football industry, the world, what's happening, and
Mm.
just like anything you would want everyone to hear?
Oh man,
It could
man.
be like, you should be thinking about this. You should be like,
Yeah,
make sure you're doing this, like anything.
man, that's a great question. A few things come to mind. Oh man, I think something we've been kind of talking about a little bit in the show of love and understanding, man. Like, let's have some serious love and compassion, understanding for one another. Like, we are all hurt. We all go through things, and we all make bad choices. We all. It is so unfair and so silly to stand on a pedestal like you're better than anybody else and judge people for what they do. People make mistakes. People do wrong things. Let's have love. Let's forgive one another, and let's have empathy for one another, man. Like, seriously, and stand for righteousness. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I love that.
Love,
I love
love,
that.
empathy, and stand for righteousness always. That's it.
That's a great crest. One day, the family of the Browns, love, empathy, and stand for righteousness, with like a griffin in the middle of it. Not to joke
Yeah.
though. Perfect way to end the episode. You just, like what you just said, like that motto, I could actually use that. Maybe I will. Maybe that'll just be the tagline for the show. Love, empathy, and stand for righteousness. Maybe I changed the stand for righteousness to stand for understanding, or be
Yeah.
understanding, just because this is the Judgment Seesaw. But
Yeah.
do that. This is the beginning of the off season. Technically, like for fantasy football, the off season did start a month ago, but it didn't really. We're all
Yeah.
like, football's still happening. It doesn't start
Yeah.
until football
No.
ends.
Doesn't start till the
And
Super Bowl.
so, yeah, yeah. So in just a few days, like the off season is going to kick off. My advice to people would be: A, to try to be empathy or try to have empathy, to be understanding, to be loving, to stand for righteousness, to stand for just like in general, trying to be a positive impact on the people you're around.
Mm-hmm.
The second part of that would be to make sure that whatever you're thinking about doing in 2026 for fantasy football, you get started on Monday. Do not wait.
Yeah.
I have made that mistake multiple times over the last decade, and every single time it has absolutely screwed me. There's a set fiscal calendar in this industry. It creates mental health hangups. It is really, really difficult to be somebody that is used to the regular like calendar for normal people, join this industry and have this weird, like I have a 2-month crunch window at one point of the year, and I have like a 2-month crunch window at this point. And if I don't get my work done and published in those windows, I'm screwed. Just go out there on Monday and crush whatever you're doing and do it with love and understanding. And if you do that, the industry will wrap around you. I will go promote your stuff. Hutch will promote your stuff. There's 500 other people in this industry that have important followings, quote unquote. I shouldn't say that about myself, but I have a concentrated one. Hutch has a big one. People have bigger than Hutch's. Those type of people like Hutch and I and the people that have been around the block for a little while, like look for that. So show that you care, put your work in, be loving, be positive, be understanding with people. Show that you are a person that is going to contribute positively to the fantasy football community. And if you do that, you will have a place here and you will eventually make money. It happens for every single person that does that.
Yeah.
And people act like there isn't that path. They act like there's this weird like cabal that decides who's successful and not. Nope. It's literally like a litmus test of morality. And if you just do that, you're good to go. So that's my final note. Hutch, I think I talked more than you in this, and you're supposed to be the guest, so apologies.
I don't think so. I don't know. I think it was pretty. I feel like I talked a lot. I feel pretty good.
Maybe it was 50-50 and my imposter syndrome and self-consciousness is fired up. All right. Maybe I will. I'll feed it into their transcript. Shout out to Crisp AI. I've been using their platform for 3 years. They do that for you. Crisp AI will actually, while you're on a Zoom call, tell you live. Like you've been talking for 24% of this call and you're only 2 minutes in. You should shut up.
Really? It'll do that?
Yeah.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Great, dude. Such a good quality of life feature for people that have important meetings. It's amazing. All right. The show is coming back in March. I'm going to, after the FSGA, which I'm going to be at in a week. If you're going there and you saw this, DM me right now. Let's meet. I will come and consult with you. I will transform your business. Let me be a part of your team and let me work with you for a few weeks. Get you set up for AI. The show itself is not about AI, but of course, like I said, AI is part of that. Like the mental health and AI discussion, I think they are intertwined. And this show, starting back up, I'm going to do 2 things. One is a weekly show starting at some point in March. I'm going to bring on people like Hutch. We'll do this every week. But I'm also going to randomly once a month and over time find a set schedule for it. Have a once-a-month show called Group Therapy. It's Judgement Seesaw, Group Therapy, or something. I'll figure out a better title for it. But that show I've been planning on for 2 years, and it's why I've been waiting on this. I just haven't had the headspace to really conduct it. But I'm in a good spot now, and I think I have the bandwidth to do it alongside my other projects. That will be like going to you, Hutch, and like you. I'll talk to Joe about it in Vegas, but I'll go get like you, Joey, Dave Klug, and Joe Bryant. And we'll have group therapy. We'll talk about all of these same topics and have like a group discussion. And I think that will be a really, really impactful thing. And my goal, if you're watching this, is to go to every single business in the fantasy football industry over the next 3 years and get your team that is willing to do this together and have a group therapy session and share insights, share thoughts. And then the end result of that will be that I'm going to take all of these discussions over the next 3 years. And I'm going to develop an AI tool and database for industry hygiene, wellness, and betterment. And that is my big pie in the sky hope for all of this. Thank you for tuning in. Hutch, I love you, dude. You're one of my favorite people in the industry. I'm so happy that you and I became friends so many years ago and that we maintain this It's always so
many
good
years
doing
ago.
stuff with you,
It was
man.
like 3
So
years
many years
ago.
ago.
I love you.
300 years ago.
I love you too, Ronnie.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Well,
man.
thank you for coming on and doing this. I'll have some of the other football guys on over the next year. And if
Yes,
you guys
sir.
are not following Hutchinson Brown, his handle is at Hutchinson Brown NFL, right?
At Hutchinson B_FF. Close.
I'm an idiot.
You got
At Hutchinson B_ whatever it was.
it.
Follow
You're good,
him.
bro.
And look, I'll be back in March. I got to go to this meeting in 5 minutes.